Hey, Beginning Watercolor, it's Brad here with our week 6 video, and this week is called Practice, Practice, Practice. And basically this week you're going to choose one particular thing to practice. And hopefully it's something that, would really help your paintings. It's always good to practice things that you're good at, but this week I'd like you to really challenge yourself and to practice something that you're not quite as good at. And, if you I know I could practice a lot of things. So you kind of narrow it down. It's like, well, what would one thing, what's the one thing that would really help my paintings the most, perhaps? And so maybe you just did your landscape last week, and your sky was perfect, like you did this perfect graded wash or variegated wash, and you know uh, the clouds where everything was perfect, but then you get to drawing the trees and they're just or painting the trees and they're just like they're not there. It's just like, why does it look like a Christmas tree farm? And like, why do they all look the same? And you know, why can't I paint deciduous trees or something like that? And so that might be something to practice this week. So maybe it's just learning a part of a landscape, like trees or shrubs or um, something like that. Um, or it could be a particular style. Let's say you wanted to learn um, like uh, like Turner. I want to do paintings like Turner. Like who doesn't? Like that would be awesome if we could all do that. But maybe doing a master copy of one of his paintings and just like, hey, I'm gonna. We learn by copying and trying to imitate others, and maybe you could do a straight up master copy where you actually copy their work, and that's totally fine, by the way. I know some people think, no, you can't do that. You can. There's like a whole um, tradition in art history of people doing that. It's how people learn. But the difference is it's not plagiarism. It's because you're not trying to pass it off as your own. You just sign it like, Brad after Turner or someone. Like that's what you would do. This is Brad after Matisse or whatever. You just cite them. You give credit where credit's due. So, and it's totally fine. Or if you don't like that, and I get it because I know I wasn't like that. I didn't like to do master copies when I was younger either. Um, I've learned to appreciate it much more now, but that's a side note. Um, Maybe you just want to like, hey, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do a landscape painting, but I'm really going to look at Edward Hopper really hard this week, and I'm going to try to paint this like Edward Hopper painted it. Okay, so you just choose, like you could choose to emulate a style, or you could, um, do a direct copy, or whatever it is that you want. You want to practice this week. Um, so I mean, it could even be like even a little slightly more conceptual. Maybe it's like color theory. It's like, hey, my painting, like the techniques are there, but I don't really understand these color theories and how these paints work. So maybe you do different kind of very intentional kind of paintings that revolve around your application of color theory. And so you could kind of go and revisit some of those things and do a couple, two or three paintings. Like you could do a monochromatic painting, or and all the different variations there that you can look back on. If you have missed that information, you have to go back in the modules and look for that. But anyway, this week just choose something to practice and have fun with it. Challenge yourself, and you know what? Um, you may end up just like having a real tough time with certain things, and it may just be a frustration. Don't worry about it. Not everything's going to be perfect. Watercolor is and learning watercolor is a lot about, it's just failing just a lot of the time. I mean, just all the time. And so um, don't be afraid of failure. We'll just embrace it, and then you can document it and then upload those failures to me, and it'll all be great because I'm like, hey, that's perfect. I'm glad that you showed me those failures because that's how you're learning, and you just keep doing it and doing it, and eventually, you'll get those figures in your landscapes, and they won't look quite as awkward anymore, and whatever it is that you need help with. But it's going to be kind of a self-directed um, assignment this week. So research, look online, look at other artists, and you might look at other YouTube tutorials and things like that. So, and books, by the way. Go to the library, check out a book, and they'll help you most of the time. So, all right. So just put in some good practice this week, and as always, if I can help you, I will. So email me with your questions, and I'll see what I can do to help. All right. Take care, guys. Have a great week.